Tamara here from Posh Cat Crafts. Nice of you to join me. In today's video we're going to be working on our landscape mini album that we've been making using our Tonic Memory Book 2 dies. Now this is a series of videos that I have been working on, and if you've come to this video by mistake and you want to watch from the beginning, because that would be really helpful, because I give you all the dimension of the pages in part 1. So I will put the link up there, and you'll be able to click on that and go straight to part 1. I'll also put up the playlist for this video, for this series of videos as well. So I will put it up either there or in the other corner, so that you can just check out the different videos for this series. Right, what I've done is we made these pages up in a previous video, and it was the ones where we used the legacy keeper, and we've purposed it into some flaps, which I quite like. But what we didn't do was we didn't do the other side of that page. Now I've made one up already, so what I've been doing in this series of videos is I'll make one up off camera, and then we'll make up one on camera so that you can see how it's done. So it just means that we've got like 2 pages the same, which is okay, it's fine. But as we haven't actually stuck them into our book yet, you can stick them in any order. So you don't have to stick the 2 pages that are alike next to each other, if that makes sense. So this is the one I've done so far. Now I've made like a secret flap, which you can't really tell that that's a flap. And you open it up. I've left this quite plain, so you can then choose on how you decorate your pages. I've just included a scrolly sort of die cut there, but I've just done it in the cream. I quite liked the cream on cream, so it just gave it a nice feel. So this part of the flap I've left blank, but you could put a cream piece of card cut out, or you could put a photograph in there. So that one's, and I think it's important to leave some parts of your album pretty plain, because that way you've got the person that you're giving it to has the choice of what they want to put there. And then when we flap it back over, obviously I've got a magnet there to keep it closed, and I've just used the smaller die cuts in the frame just to create sort of a, I think like a cameo. You could have actually put a lady in there, you know, like a cameo face. Would have looked really nice in there. And then I've got a sentiment here, and then I've just finished it off with some fussy cutting from some of the elements from our paper, and some cotton lace that I've just stuck down. So that's where we're going with our next page. Okay, so I'll get everything ready, and then we'll be ready to start. Right, I've got the dies that we're going to use out. So for our flap, which is this flap here, I used the layering die for our page, and the page die is the page is the die with the faux stitching around the edges. So this then is the layer for that, which fits nicely in, you know, it's obviously a layer in our page. So we're going to cut this one first of all out of craft card. So we need 1 out of craft card, and then 1 out of our patterned paper. And we're going to cut the 2 out at exactly the same size, because I want it to be like a little hidden pocket flap, because you can't really see, unless you're looking at it hard, that it is a flap. So it's a bit of a secret one. Okay, and then the inside one, we're going to use the page, the next size down. So this is the page die, which would be for the next size album down, but it just fits nicely into that sort of layer die. So this then becomes our layer for our layer. Right, we need, what we're going to cut, we're going to use our layering die first. We're going to cut that first. So we're going to need this cut out of our craft card once. So you need one of the craft card, and then we'll need two of the patterned paper. So the two of the patterned paper, one is going onto the front of our flap, and then the other one is going onto the bottom of our page. So let's get die cutting those out first. What I'll do is, because I've moved my die cutting machine, I've put it over the other side, I'll play some really nice music that you can listen to while I'm die cutting. Okay, I'm back. So we've cut out the craft card, so that then is going to be turn it into our flap, and I've cut two pattern papers. So we're going to put these aside because I'm going to use this one as the top paper, and then this one is going to go onto our page. But if you noticed on this one, I have got it cut out, which follows our finger hold for our tag that goes inside. So what we need for that, if you followed my videos before, you'll know that I use this envelope punch board to create that lovely effect that I have on the end of the page. So we're going to need, so with your envelope punch board, if you haven't got an envelope punch board, you can use a circle punch and just half circle it in the middle. So you then, I don't know the measurements of that because obviously you can get loads of different circle dies, punches. So you would have to then measure from the two sides to then work out where your middle is. So for this one then, I know what my measurements are. So you need to cut, let me just make sure I've got this on the right. Yep. You need to punch at 1 1/8 of an inch, like so. Okay, and then we can turn it over. So you turn it over the other side, but you've still got that punch hole that you've already done on the top. Okay, and you need to do the same. So punch at 1 1/8. Okay, and it creates sort of like a W effect. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this part away. Okay, I was just double checking them. So I just use a metal ruler and I line up the two bottom depressions like so, and then we're just going to chop that bit off. Okay, so that then gives us that lovely depression. And then that should fit really nicely onto our page, like so. Right, so if you are inking your edges like I have been trying to remember to do, this is the good time to do that now. It's evening here in the UK. Well, it's kind of late evening sort of now, and I think this is the coldest evening that we've had so far this winter. It is getting on to -1 where I am, so it's pretty chilly. So it's I love this weather when you can put the heating on, and you know, you have the fires and put your fire on. It's all nice and cozy, and you can do some crafting. I love it. I think winter is my most favourite time of the year. Okay, so I've inked those. So we're going to just stick that down now. But before we can stick it down, we actually need to put our magnet on. I always forget them. I did have some magnets, there we go, here. Now these magnets are pretty slim. These are about 1 millimetre thick, and they're about 10 millimeters diameter. Okay, so they're pretty small, and they just work so well for these little albums. So as you can see, they are sticking already. So that's, I don't mind that being sort of there. That's going to be a nice, oops, there we go. We'll just put that there and stick this on. Excellent. Okay. Right, so now we're going to stick the pattern paper to our craft card. So if you stick that down. Now I think I have done a mistake here, because I was going to use this nice side of the paper as well, but I've kind of stuck that piece down already. But that doesn't matter, it's okay. You sometimes get them muddled up, but that's fine. Right, now what we need to do is we need to make our little structure strip that's going to, our hinge strip should I say, that's going to allow us to open and close our flap. So with that, you need to get a piece of your craft card. Now it doesn't have to be, it can just be a scrap of your craft card, but if you chop it down to 1 inch, it needs to be quite long, so if you do it, measure it for about 1 inch, so it's 1 inch this side across like this, and then I'm just going to eyeball it to get the measurement. So I'm just going to get a pencil, and doesn't have to be too exact, but it does help if it's very near. So as you can see, I've made a little pencil mark there, and I'm going to chop that bit of the pencil, that mark off. Okay, like so. So then you're ending up with a piece of card that looks like that. Okay, so you need to get a scoreboard. If you haven't got a scoreboard, you can use a ruler and measure it out that way. But scoreboards are quite inexpensive, so I would say invest in one. I've got, this is the small one, this goes to 6 and 6 5/8 of an inch, and then it goes down to 8 inch, but I've also got the 12 by 12 one as well. So you know, I would definitely invest in them. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the short end of the craft card along the top, and then we're going to just score down at 1/2 inch. Okay, so score it all the way down to 1/2 inch. Okay, and then fold it in half. Okay, give it a good score, and just to reinforce that score line, like so. Okay, I must have cut it a little bit bigger, but it doesn't matter, it's all fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to attach our hinge strip to the back of our craft card, and for that I use double-sided tape, like so, and we're just going to put the double-sided tape along the outside of our hinge strip. So just get some scissors, okay, like so, and then if we stick that down, we can then work on the other side. Take that off. Okay, get your strip to as close to of that edge of your paper as possible. Okay, so you kind of get something that looks a little bit like that. Okay, there's the strip. Okay. And then we're going to put some more double-sided tape along, then again along the outside of our hinge strip. Okay, cut that off and take the back off, like so. Okay, now we're going to stick this as close to our underside as we can, so that it is, there we go, so that you can't see the underneath. Okay, so it looks a little bit like that. Now I'm going to actually put something on here, because on this one I actually put the structure strip behind the bottom of this paper, but it doesn't matter either way, it works. I mean, you can put a strip of card along there that people can use for journaling, etc, etc, which is what I'll do. Okay, so just something to bear in mind. I've actually done the two so that you can see. So this one is where I've hidden the hinge strip underneath the backing paper, and this one is I've worked on to the backing paper. Now that works in two ways, because this one you get more of a snugger fit, so it's a bit more of an illusion that it is just the page that is there, and this one you have slight gapping where you'll never get them, because they're exactly the same size, you'll never get them perfect. So it swings and roundabouts, so whichever you prefer really. So we now need to put our extra magnet on, because we've obviously got that magnet there. So I'm just going to get some double-sided tape, just cut that bit off, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just position that underneath there, and then push it down, and hopefully that's going to stick in place. There we are. So when we come to cut our pattern paper, that then is going to hide that magnet. But before then we do that, we also need to add our little tab. So with this little tab here that we can use to pull up our flap, and I just used some organza ribbon, but there we go. I was going to say I don't know where it is. So I've just cut some organza ribbon, and you just fold it in half like so, and then it gets stuck onto your page. Now that one isn't showing too much, so it's not really going to make too much of a difference. So you can literally just put that on like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take off the backing, but I'm not going to throw this away. I'm going to sort of keep this excuse my dogs please. Okay, and we stick that on there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place the backing tape back over to the double-sided, so that we can then go and cut our next part. Okay, so that then creates that little tab that you can pull up. Okay, right, next job we now need to cut out our backing paper or our layer. And again, I remember I used the next die down in the die collection, which would be a page die, because it's got the faux stitching around it and only the 3 cutting edges, but it just works. We can use it also as a layer. Okay, so we can use it then as the layer die for our flap. So you're going to need to cut one of these out of your chosen backing paper. So I will be right back. Okay, I've cut out our layer, and because this only has the cutting edge on 3 sides, I'm going to have to just chop off this excess bit of card here. And what I do is I cut to about 1/8 of an inch past the faux stitching. So you leave the faux stitching off, but cut it about 1/8 of an inch gap. And that then creates our lovely layer. Okay, so again, if you are inking, ink your edges. And then we can stick on. Okay, so you can take off that backing paper now off the double-sided. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue onto that organza ribbon, just at the top there, so that it is going to help it to stick down like so. Okay. Okay, so then that then is our flap already done. That's now our hidden flap. And now what we are going to do is we're going to now work on this. Now on this one I used like a frame, and this is the mixed media frame from Tonic, so I used that. But I think what we might do is we're going to go a bit more gentle, and I thought we would use, I think I'm going to put it on this side. So we're going to use this lovely frame that is, I think this is the Baroque frame that comes in one of the memory book accessories. So I just thought that would be nice, and then we'd cut out the layer, which is this one here, which is then going to go in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to cut this one out of cream card. Okay, and then I may cut this out of craft. Okay, so cut your Baroque frame out of cream, and then your circle, oh sorry, not your circle, your oval that fits in the middle out of cream. Okay, no, get it right. Cut your Baroque frame out of cream, and then your oval out of craft. Still got that little bit on there, but I could just pull that off, and then you get just the frame. And then what I might do, because this just hasn't cut, it's because I didn't have the correct shim, that's all. I'm going to stick that one back in, but I'll stick this down first. So I'm just going to put some glue onto my hand and tap it down. Okay, and just then place that over on your, okay, just pat it down, get it all stuck nicely, and then this can go in there like so, and then you put your oval frame over the top, and then that gives you just that lovely pop of colour. Okay, and then what I thought we'll do is we'll leave this side blank, apart from we're just going to cut a piece of cream card to go across there. So let me just get some on there. And I'm gonna go with five and 3/4, and possibly let's go by 3. So 5 3/4 by 3. Okay, that should then give me a nice there. I don't actually mind that it's half. I don't think I mind. No, because we can always put another something down there. That's better. So 1 1/4 by 5 3/4. That was the measurement. So this one measures 5 3/4 by 3. Okay, and we can stick that down. So let's stick that side because I've got a bit of glue gunk on it. And then that's going to stick very near to that edge. Leave about 1/4 inch gap between the fold, just so that you get a nice fold. It's not folded right down. And then this one is just going to go over like so. Leave a bit of a gap. I just thought that looks quite nice actually, that gap. Okay, glue, and then stick on, leaving a gap, and then that can go down like so. So that then is the inside of our part of our page finished. And then what we're going to do is now we're going to work on here. Now for this bit, all I used was this this Baroque mixed media dye from Tonic, and to create a sort of cameo type effect. But what I think I might do is I have got some cameos. I'm going to put one in the middle, so bear with me. Right, I found these cheap cameos that I've found from the, can you see where I got them from? They were £1, so I pick these sort of things up and then I keep them in my stash forever, and they fit just nicely. Look, as you can see, don't want to stick it down because see, that's a bit sticky. I want to just put it on this one. So I think what we'll do is we'll cut out these first. Now I used the mixed media dies from Tonic. These are for the frame, but I don't use my Gemini to cut them out because Gemini is a bit too powerful, too strong to cut these dies, and it will end up wrecking your plates and your metal shim. Now I'll show you my metal shim that I've used some of the mixed media dies in, and as you can see, they're that strong. They've punched a hole through my metal shim. So I've got my Sizzix Big Shot that I'm using to cut these out. Obviously the Tonic Tangerine is your best bet if you have got one of those, but I would just be very careful when you're cutting these dies because they are pretty thick and quite tough, so you could end up wrecking your plates, so you will need to be that little bit more careful. There, so we need this small one here. This is from the mixed media dies. This is I think they're frames. I can't remember what the actual name of them is because I don't keep the outside. I kind of lose what they're called. Right, so that's our bits and pieces cut out. So let me just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's then our 3 frames cut. Now as I put them into a diagonal, I'm going to put these ones going straight across our page like so. And then I'm going to leave these blank. So put your glue on, and then what you can do is maybe put a little photograph in here, would be lovely. Okay, and the other one like so, and then could use the green one actually, yes. So I'm not going to use that extra oval what that I've cut out. I'm just going to put then the cameo straight in the middle like that. Okay, and then just glue these down like so. So that's 1, 2, and you could embellish these a lot more than I have. You could add some flowers, you could add basically anything you wanted really, just to give it a bit more personality if you wanted. But I'm actually going to leave it just like that because I love that. Is just a really nice embellishment in the middle. I really love it. So that is quite a quick video, I think, that I've made there. So that then we've now finished all, well, 3 of our pages. So what we've done is we've actually finished now the pages that have got the vertical, where we've punched out on the shorter side, like so. And then in our next video we're going to start with the pages where we've cut along the long side. Okay, so we've cut our finger holds out of the long side. Okay, I just thought it would give it a different feel than having them all come out this side. So we'll see. Hopefully it will work. I'm sure it will. So that then is our 3 pages all done. If you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, love thumbs up, and a comment. I love to read all your comments. If you've got anything in there that you're not that I've said that you're not sure of, then again please comment and I will get back to you. Please follow me on social media. I'm on all the major ones. I'll put the links to them all in the descriptions down below. Anything else that I need to say? Thank you for all this, the current the old and new subscribers. I really appreciate it. I'm so pleased that you all like what I'm trying to do. So please tell your friends, share this video as much as you can. I would be very much appreciated. The more the merrier. Anything else? I think that is about it. Right, I will sign off and I will see you on the next one. Bye.